Hello, my name is Carrie and today I'm going to be showing you how I paint these snowdrops. First of all, I'm wetting the paper all over. I'm using a hake brush, which is a goat's hair brush. It's nice and soft and quite large. I quite like it for large washes. The paper is a bit too wet, so I'm just running the roller over to remove some of the moisture. And now I'm coming in with some colours. I'm using aureolin yellow. This is cobalt blue with a little bit of cobalt turquoise mixed in. I'm going for cool colours because it's a winter scene. I inadvertently forgot to reserve some of the lighter areas either with wax or with masking fluid, but that's okay because this paper is Bockingford and it's quite good for lifting off, so that's what I go in and do later on anyway. Now a bit of alizarin crimson, which is a cool red. Down at the bottom, sort of indicating the earth. A bit more blue. That had a lot more straight cobalt blue in it. Now I've added in a bit more of the turquoise, the cobalt turquoise, and now a bit of the aureolin with a bit of the blue mixed in. The alizarin crimson up at the top. Now these three colours will mix beautifully to make greys, which I will be using to shade the petals later on in the painting. Just filling in some of the gaps there. Now with a very thirsty brush, I'm lifting out some of the paint as much as I can. It'll help me later on. Just filling in a bit more gaps there. And there. Now for texture, I'm going to use some table salt. I'm going to sprinkle it along the bottom left-hand side, mostly. Put a little bit of it elsewhere. I thought I'd only put a little bit on, but when I come back the next day, it's done that. That's a little bit too much texture, but it's okay. A lot of it gets hidden anyway. I like some at the end. The texture is there, but you can hardly see it. Now, what I'm doing is I'm coming along with a slightly stiffer brush. This is a Daily Rowney. It's a nice chisel shape. It's quite small, and I'm lifting off the paint in some areas. Currently at this point I'm lifting off some of the stem, and this paper is great for lifting off. It lets me do this, so it doesn't matter that I forgot to do the masking. I must say I don't really like masking fluid. I think it's too harsh. It's also bad for brushes as well, although there are other ways to apply it. I still don't like it. If I'd remembered, I probably would have gone in with a wax crayon actually. That is my favourite way to reserve the lights. I've got some Neocolor ones, the ones that don't dissolve, and they're good for that. Or a bit of counter wax, or even your Crayola crayons will do the job. So I'm lifting off some of the petal there. So I work all over, lifting off some areas to make sure I've still got some white. I find this kind of a soothing thing to do. I quite enjoyed it lifting off. I could quite happily do that for hours. Now, I don't know if you've noticed, but on snowdrops they have this funny little bit above the head that lifts up. I'm just including that in this painting. I mean, it's not a botanical painting by any means. Now I'm going to I'm going to paint in the stems and also the bits on top of each flower. It does make it a lot easier to see. Once I start getting the stems in, it begins to make a bit more sense. So I'm going to be quiet for a moment while I do this and speed it up. And now what I'm doing is I'm doing some negative painting. I'm painting around the shapes. I'm going in with the same colours again, but slightly thicker consistency. And this shows the shapes of the flowers. I'm encouraging the colours to flow into each other there. And letting the colours run again. Doing a little bit of splashing. Right, that's dried, and now I'm going to work on the leaves that I have at the bottom. The leaves on Snowdrops are fairly short. Now I'm going over everything with the cobalt turquoise to unify all the colours and to soften everything. I go over some of the stems at this stage as well, and the leaves. So now you can see the texture that was caused by the salt is still there, but it's a lot more knocked back. A bit more splashing, but it doesn't really make much difference at this stage because it's so wet. It's lifting off some of the colours there, some of the paint again. Softening the edges as well of those petals. So it's dried, and I'm working at a funny angle here. I'm sorry about that, but I'm trying to reach above to work on the top two flowers. And now I'm putting some more detail in them, indicating where there's bits behind. Darkening that area. So that's giving the flowers a bit more form. A quick blast with a hairdryer, and now I can come in with there's a little green detail on the shorter petals. I'm just popping that in where you can see them. And now I'm going to do some more dark in the green areas. So there's little bits at the top of each flower head and along the shaded area of the stem. Right, we're at a better angle now. And I'm just reinforcing the darks in the leaves as well. Just doing some indications of leaves elsewhere. Now I'm doing some splattering with the, what colour is it? I think it's with the green. Now as it's dry, the splatters will stay in place. Now I'm going to work some more on the petals. These are just light touches. The light is coming from the top right hand corner, so some areas will catch the light more. Just removing some colour there. That's better. No, I was going to do, yes, I'm going to do some more there. Removing some more light up there. Right, that's dried, and now I'm going to splatter some white gouache paint all over. Well, I'm concentrating it more on the top. I don't really want it down at the bottom so much. So that's with a large paintbrush, and now we're going to do some more delicate splatters with a bristle brush. Can't see them too well on the screen, but they're much finer. Just to give a bit of variety, I don't want the splatters to all look the same. Oh, and now for the fun bit. With the warmth of the hairdryer softening the glue on the tape, I can lift it up and do that lovely bit where you reveal the final painting. There's something very satisfying about peeling off the tape. And if you keep the warmth of the hairdryer or a heat gun, it stops the, whoops, it tore a bit there, but it generally stops it from tearing the paper. Just warming it up a bit. There we go. And the bit at the top is a little bit harder to do because it's underneath the clip. So I'll just lift it away. Warming it up a bit, all along the edge there. And I can free the bit of paper. It's underneath, there we go. And here's the final painting. I hope you picked up some hints and tips on how to paint snowdrops if you want to have a go yourself. Thank you very much for watching. Bye.